Hello, welcome everybody to another episode of the Ryan Swo podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Swokowski, and today I have two very special guests, and they're here today with me to talk about their podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome from Music Life Church, Joel Swokowski and Jonathan Fries. How are you guys doing
Hey,
today?
So good, Ryan.
wonderful.
Thanks for having
Glad
us.
to be here.
Great to have you back on my podcast. I appreciate it. And I am a huge fan of your podcast. So today they're on my show because we're going to talk about their podcasts, which are called What the Flock and the Music Life Church podcast. And we'll be talking today about some of their episodes from season 7, which include the episodes titled LGBTQ plus, What is Man, What is Woman, and Pornography. Woo! Those are some pretty tense episode topics, guys, but I'm
Yeah.
excited. They were great episodes too, so thank you so much. Let's dive right in. Pastor Jonathan, what was the motivation to tackle such tough topics here in season 7?
Well, when it comes to season 7, like what's the motivation? It's really, we wanted to be able to, I think, show people that you can understand anybody and regardless of what the topic is. So no matter how hot the the conversation can get, no matter how damaging, I think by approaching these topics and focusing on understanding, I think what we're doing is we're helping the church with, I think, the biggest issue that the church has. I think the church has a terrible reputation of being um, very judgmental, very close-minded. And so to approach these topics and discuss them, our focus is always on, let's focus on understanding the other person and giving people the tools to be able to relax. And you as the believer, you as professing to love Jesus, you be the leader in discussing these topics. Take direction from him with grace, do it in love, and look to facilitate somebody else. Be a leader in that. So we wanted to approach these topics to help people, to help our listeners, to help the church get good at doing something that we claim that we're the best at.
Yeah, it was great. You guys literally, I feel like you guys walked us through the listeners on how to understand each other. So there is a playbook, there is a script to go off of. So if anybody hasn't seen their or listened to their podcast yet, I encourage you to listen to that as a literal example of how to understand somebody else and what that looks like. And it can be confronting of the people in my life, or the debates that I've gotten into where I'm really just looking to prove other people wrong as a step one, not to actually understand them. So, and what I saw through your podcast were really you two pastoring us listeners through these tough topics. So I appreciate that so much. So, Pastor Joel, I have a question for you. Other than Pastor Jonathan, who is a pastor that you look up to?
Hmm. So there's a handful. Unfortunately, there's only a handful I feel like I can really name. One of the biggest issues Jonathan and I have expressed towards one another is not having the old guard or the gray-haired pastors there to mentor us. So a lot of the pastors that we've had good working relationships with or even fellowship with are pastors that are those who we've ministered to. So I'll just say you, Ryan, you're a pastor I look up to. You're so different from me. You have this ability to help people feel safe and loose in a way that I could only ever dream to. And I don't even dream to. It's like not even on my radar to provide that benefit for people.
I can't even dream about that. I can't even dream about it.
I don't even want to. It's like it'd be a waste of my time to even dream about it. It's like I'll let Ryan do that. But it's been really cool to see over the last couple of years your process in developing as a pastor and growing more and more into the pastor
Mm.
that God's created you to be,
Mm.
and based on your uniqueness. So that's what I look up to, is that,
Mm.
yeah, your ability to bring levity to a tough situation, or
Mm.
even a sermon, or
Yeah.
an interaction like that. So it's, yeah, that's definitely a skill I look up to, because it's something that I do
Mm.
not possess.
Wow, man. Well, thank you so much. That will be all for today's episode of the Ryan Show podcast. So I'll see you again.
Dude, I just did that in an interview.
Really?
Or
Yeah.
I got affirmed and I did the outro.
Yeah.
It was
He's like, all
okay.
right, nice talking. I'm out.
That's all I needed.
That concludes the Ryan's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for the kind words, Pastor
We
Joel. I
don't
appreciate
get these
it.
questions ahead of time.
Right? Oh man, I appreciate that. That means a lot that you say that. So, Pastor Jonathan, same question. Why do you look up to me as a pastor? I mean, who do you look up to as a pastor?
Who do I look up to as a pastor? I'm going to go ahead and say Dean Wallace.
Ooh.
Dean Wallace is a pastor in Dundee, Scotland. He's a pastor at a new church called Relight Church.
Oh, cool.
And I look up to Dean because he loves being a pastor. He's proud of being a pastor. And I think with Dean, like, we are surrounded by, I believe the three of us are surrounded by such a great community of pastors. So I think everybody deserves a shout. You know, Pastor Joel and his two associates, you Ryan, and Eric Vickers.
Yeah.
I think that the senior pastor of Music of Life Church Appleton, Simon, and his two associate pastors, Patty and Rob.
Yeah.
Patty Dempsey and Rob Warning.
Yeah.
All of you guys, the six of you, deserve a major shout, because I feel like you guys are all on a trajectory of finding out how you are unique as pastors. This is what I love about the six of you, is that you're all very unique and you all have your own unique path that you're heading down, and none of you are the same. It's like you are all so freaking different. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
So there is so much reach that our pastors have. Now, I unfortunately, before Dean, I think I took for granted, what it was like to be around a pastor, to be pastored. So it took me going to Scotland and being around somebody who was a pastor to really have this outside experience, this outside of my comfort zone. So I'm in another country and I'm with a pastor, like a true pastor, a Jesus gifted fivefold pastor.
Nice.
And to be in a different country with a pastor who is called to his people gave me an experience of what it's like to be around a pastor that I don't think I've had. Like the safety that I feel around Dean, and that I did feel around him. All I wanted to do was be around him.
Oh, cool.
It was weird. It was like wherever he was, I wanted to be near him. I wanted to be around him. When he was talking, I'd be like, everybody shut up and listen to Dean. You know, when he would care for people, I could feel that care. And so, to me, he's an example of a true shepherd that I just absolutely want to be like, and his boldness, how bold he is as a pastor, is something that I absolutely admire.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Great answer. Thank you for sharing that. And I think, like, I look up to you guys as pastors. You guys have invested in me and the other pastors in our community. So thank you for that. But yeah, there is this level of, when I want to be by you guys, it's because you guys have proven to be a safe place for us too. So I appreciate that. And tied to that is the understanding piece too. It's like, also, I feel like you guys want to help me and you want to understand me. You're not just trying to poke holes at me when I do wrong. You're actually trying to help me, and you do it in a caring way, in a non-enabling type way too, or abusive way. So thank you guys so much. So
Took me a long time to be not enably, Pastor Ryan.
Yeah. I get that. You've helped me out with that quite a bit, both of you too. Not enably. I like that.
De-unenably.
De-unenably. That's a word.
Wait, so you're enabling?
Wait, hold on. Oh, that's awesome. Well, cool. So the one of the episodes that you guys did in season 7 was the "What is Man" episode, and that's where a lot of us listeners got to understand and learn what the definition of a man is. It's somebody who does the causes regardless of the effects, a person who does what is right regardless of the circumstances. Another way to say it. Pastor Jonathan, can you share about the time when you realized that you became a man?
Oh yeah. I mean, I went through our man night program. It was something that I developed with actually our producer and friend John, and so I went through it, and I was still questioning my manhood. You know, I had done some things that were difficult, but I didn't truly feel like I was a man. And um, what John helped me see is, well, I think he goes, I think you're going to get an opportunity where you're not going to be able to step into it and through it if you weren't a man. So confirm that. So all of us as guys, we need to figure out that situation where you don't have to step into it and it's going to cause you to potentially lose your brain. You step into it, you don't lose your brain, you keep focused, even though you do feel that all happen on the inside. You focus, you step in it and through it, and you handle the moment. That's,
Mhm.
being a man is very much just handle the moment. You put out the fire,
Yeah.
it's put it out. So for me, it was a confrontation that I had with my dad.
Mm.
I had come off the road of traveling around the country in a band that I was in. I learned what it was to be a man. And then I started to learn and grow in all of these things. I had these tools and this truth that I wanted to share with my dad. I wanted to make him aware of this. And I remember him sharing with me stories of when he was growing up and how his dad wouldn't listen to him with the new things that he was learning. Like one of the things my dad did is my dad played Bridge Over Troubled Water to his dad and by Simon and Garfunkel. And my dad told his dad, "Dad, listen to this song. Simon and Garfunkel are singing about Jesus."
Oh man.
Like a bridge over troubled water. And my dad's dad said, "That is rock and roll. That is the devil's music. I'm not going to hear it."
Ooh.
Well, I felt like my dad was kind of treating me the same way. He was dismissing what it was that I was learning. He wasn't interested in it. And then I said to my dad, so before I stepped into the confrontation, I was like, uh, I'm going to lose a relationship with my father if I say
Oh.
something that confrontational to him. But what I did is I had rehearsed and prepared to say to my dad, "Dad, I feel the same way as the stories I heard from you when you were growing up about
Mm.
you trying to reach your dad." So that's what I ended up doing, Ryan, is I ended up, you know, preparing, and I was so nervous and I cried so hard that I literally gave myself a nosebleed.
Oh man.
Like
Wow.
I was so terrified of losing the relationship with my dad because of this confrontation. So I just cried and my nose like like gushed. So I had like grabbed a t-shirt and to have to put it. Like I was so nervous about this. I thought we were done. So I walked up and I had this conversation with my dad and I said, "Dad, I just, through tears, just saying, I feel like you in your stories when you tell me about your dad, I feel like you, and I'm trying to learn this stuff, and I'm trying to share with you it, and I don't feel like you're hearing me.
Mm.
And so I feel like you." And I said it through tears, and then he started to get tears, and he said, "Son, you have my attention."
Wow.
And that was that moment and that rush of I feel like a man now.
That was it.
That
Oh,
was my
Wow.
moment.
Yeah. I have chills.
holy crap. That's incredible.
What a great
Man.
response. What a great challenge for you to step into, and a great response from your dad.
Yeah, he was amazing. I mean, yeah, when I help guys step into situations like that, it's like rehearse for all types of
Yeah.
responses.
Spectrum.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of people, it's with their dad. It's a lot of people that,
Yeah.
that they look up to as a father figure. A lot of these men, it's like, who's their father figure, or and confronting them, making them aware of some contradiction or something that's difficult, and stepping into that. So when these guys do that, then they feel like a man, because you don't have to do it. I didn't
Mm.
have to have that conversation with my dad, but it was clearly something that, if left unaddressed, eventually would have led to being destructive.
Wow. Man. Yeah, that's incredible. You nailed it. I feel like this is something that you did not have to do, but chose to do it for the benefit of your dad. What
Yeah.
an awesome man for him, yeah, to respond that way. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
It's awesome.
Whew. That's heavy, man. That's a great story. So, Pastor Joel, what's your favorite ice cream? I'm just kidding. I'm going to ask you the same question.
Strawberry Blonde from
There we
Cold
go.
Stone Creamery.
There we go. Moving on. So, Pastor Joel, same question. What was the moment that you had when you feel like you became a man?
When I discovered Strawberry Blonde from Cold Stone Creamery.
Man, whew, that's heavy.
Strawberry ice
Thank
cream,
you for sharing.
graham cracker crust, caramel sauce, real strawberries in it. Okay,
That sounds great.
Yeah, it does sound
so
great.
good, so good.
Oh.
Well, joining the Marine Corps was my man moment. Yeah.
Mm,
And there is a particular difference between, I guess, becoming a man and feeling like a man. I think
yeah.
that's what's great about Jonathan's story, and it's like
Yeah.
it does take stepping into and through a certain challenge, and it does take being invited, and having a man affirm you, and like Jonathan's dad did, saying that you have my attention. It's like him saying, yeah, we're peers, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So that was an important thing, not just for him to step through it, but for him to hear that from his dad. Those words was part of the experience of feeling like a man. Because there's guys you could say, yeah, guy's a man, but if he doesn't feel like one, he's not going to be stepping into situations. He's not going to be putting out the fires he's meant to be putting out, because he's going to be too afraid to do it. For me, boot camp, going to the Marine Corps is a easy one to describe, because I didn't have to join the Marines. And you could see it as like a 3-month challenge that I stepped into and through. That it's like, you're not going to get to the end of this thing without being a man. And in particular, the end of the whole thing, I remember, the last 3 days, there's this big final exam, this big challenge. I broke my foot on the first day and kept going through the whole exam with a broken foot. Got to the top of the mountain we climbed on the last day, and that's when the drill instructor, who won the MVP that year of drill instructors, and which means he was the worst drill instructor at the same as being the best, right? Depends on where you're standing, right?
Sure.
Nice.
Oh, it's good.
And I remember before we make this big climb, he's like, okay, we're getting to the top of the Grim Reaper. The company first sergeant in front of, no, the battalion first sergeant in front of, had to be 8 companies with like 80 to 100 Marines or recruits per company. So, hundreds of recruits all doing this thing at the same time. And the battalion first sergeant is like, and I want to see tears up there. Of course they have the PR and all that, right? They literally have, like, at the top of the Grim Reaper, this mountain we climbed, were like photojournalists and stuff, because there's newspapers and magazines and stuff. So they're, snapping pictures, and they got the "I'm proud to be an American" music playing.
Nice.
It's a photo op, right?
Yeah.
Just fine. It's like, I want to see some tears, which at some point is like, it's like, cool, right? Like, this is after 3 months of busting our asses.
Yeah.
Being challenged in ways we never had before, and maybe never will again. And, being away from home for the first time, most of us, and And here's this moment where it's like, finally we get this, release and celebration of like, you're a Marine. After the battalion first sergeant's speech is done and we're about to start climbing up this mountain, my sergeant, drill instructor, Sergeant Kinzer, turns around to me and the platoon he was leading through the exam, and he says, "I don't want to see any of you crying up there."
Oh, that's funny.
It's like, there's a time and place for that, not on top of Grim Reaper. And of course, we all locked up, and it's like, yes, sir. Like, I'm going to live and die by what this guy said. I would have followed that guy anywhere.
Nice.
And I hated him at the same time I loved him, right?
Oh, man.
So I remember, 3 days I'm limping around most of it. I'm keeping up, but clearly in pain. And I remember at the top of the Grim Reaper, he says, he gets to me when all this music's playing and stuff.
Sure.
And he's saying, and he gets to me, he stands in front of me, and he just, all he says is, "I saw you struggle. I saw you were in pain. I saw you limping." And he says, "And you finished. That's what Marines do."
Wow.
So it wasn't this like over affirmation of like, I can't believe it. But it was more just like, it actually was more powerful than that, because it was like, no, you've proven you were a Marine, because that's what Marines do. They go through it even if they're in pain. And he says, "How's it feel to be a jarhead?" Which I think is fun, because that's like, it's one of these like more derogative terms that like the Marines over, a few hundred years ago just kind of grabbed a hold of for their own. It started as I might have the years wrong, maybe not a few hundred,
Sure.
a couple hundred years ago. The jarhead was like, those jarheads, like, you pay the Marines with whiskey and food, and they're happy.
Sure.
Jarheads, right? That's what he called me. So we're like, yeah, all these words, like the Germans called the Marines devil dogs. We're like, yeah, we like that. We are devil dogs.
Sure.
Everyone else called us jarheads. Like, yeah, sure, we're jarheads. We love our booze. Yeah, we're jarheads. So that's what it was. He affirmed me. He's like, that's what Marines do. He handed me the Eagle Globe and Anchor. He shook my hand. He said, "How does it feel to be a jarhead?" I said, "Great." I just said, "Great, sir," while holding back my tears. It's like, I'm not going to cry, even though I did want to, absolutely wanted to.
Yeah.
Especially not only because of the whole 3 months, because my damn foot hurt, and I knew what I did was an accomplishment. I felt it. It felt great, and part of it was relief too, because if I didn't make it to the top of the Grim Reaper, I wasn't graduating in a few days. I would have had to re-heal up in boot camp and then finish that last week once I was healed up. Instead, I graduated with crutches, but I was able to go home and go on to my next duty station and leave boot camp. So that pushing through those 3 days was definitely worth it in the long run as well. But yeah, that was my moment. I feel great about it. It's still a story I love telling. I feel, and in fact, I was able to affirm my son, Jack. He's 16 and became a man years ahead of where I was at his age. And I was able to affirm him as a man just a couple months ago. And what I did is did a ceremony with you guys were there, right? The entire greater community, and I was able to present him the dog tags that I was wearing when I became a man as like a token of his manhood. So and I was able to tell this story in front of the community, and it's just like every time I tell it, it's great. It does it shows me it's not like I don't need to think about this to feel like a man anymore.
Sure.
But it does feel good to look back, and it does really build my faith that this is an important moment for males. And I can prove that to them. I can share this story, and it helps males who are men feel a sense of confirmation. I'm like, oh yeah, I have been through something like that. And it also helps males who aren't yet men know what there's something that there's a reason why they don't feel like a man yet. It's okay they don't, but here's what you can do to go towards it.
Yeah.
Like we have the answers. We know, like Jonathan described, we can show you how to like decide what this thing is and go towards it and become a man and feel like a man. So yeah, it's just thanks for asking. Fun story to talk about.
Great story. And yeah, that was a great moment with you and Jack as well. That's awesome. I'm just picturing like this out of a movie, like your drill sergeant tells you like, welcome to the Marines, or like you are a jarhead. But in my mind, all I'm hearing is like, from the lakes of Minnesota, from the hills of Tennessee, like Lee Greenwood.
It is, dude. Oh, it is. It's all in the background over these like loudspeakers, right?
Dude. Oh, that'd give me goosebumps, man.
Oh man, and I'll tell you, is it's kind of cheesy, right?
Yeah, but still.
But man, it's the right mood when you're up there. And everybody up there is like, damn right, I'm proud to be an American.
Yeah,
there's literally nobody more proud to be American than all of the people up there.
Yeah. Like nobody's saying, can you put a different song on? Everybody's like,
no, this is the greatest song that's ever been been made.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's awesome. That's cool. Thank you so much for sharing that, guys. So
yeah, it was a long time before Joel got that foot amputated because of his injury.
The story has evolved over time. I do have to remind people periodically that it was my foot, because you'll hear people say, Joel, can you tell that story about how you broke your ankle?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Joel, can you tell me about the story that you almost got your foot amputated?
There we go.
Remember when you stepped on a mine in boot camp and almost blew your foot off and still finished?
Yeah.
Right.
My 2-week-long course that I had to finish too.
But yes, he does. He has both feet, everybody.
I have both feet. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, thank you for that, guys. So, what? Whoa, what's that? Uh-oh.
I like how you're surprised. You're surprised by you hitting it.
Oh man.
Oh, what the heck was
caught myself off guard too. Oh man.
Oh jeez.
Are you insane? Is Ryan okay?
Oh man.
He knows that he hit the button, right? Is there something? Is he okay? Honestly, somebody needs to check up on Ryan.
Really selling it here.
Oh God, this is so funny.
Well, you know what that sound means, and if you don't, I'm going to tell you anyway.
I don't know. Do you know what that sound means? Do you know?
Yeah.
Oh, it hurts.
Oh, feel it.
Oh, it hurts.
So good. It's so good. So that sound means it's time to read a letter from one of my listeners.
Oh, nice.
We do this every week. Every episode for the
every episode is he's equally surprised.
Just added to it.
Oh, man.
I'm always surprised.
Oh, my AirPods are just popping out of my ears. Anyway, yeah, letters, man.
Are you ready? Okay. Ooh, this is from Julie from Eugene, Oregon. Man, coast to coast here, Ryan Swokowski.
Nice. The great Northwest.
Oh, yes. From all over. All right. So it says, hey, Ryan, love the show. This is one of my favorite podcasts. Wow. Your delivery and your in-depth questions are impeccable. Wow.
Quite the vocabulary on Julie.
They're smart up there in Eugene. You got it. Just amazing to listen to. Thank you, Julie. So I would like to tell the PJs that I love the I Am Woman episode of the What the Flock and Music Life Church podcast. I was a big fan too, Julie. Thank you. This question is for both of them. Who is a strong woman that you look up to in your lives? Ooh, side question just for Joel here. Are you still single? Ooh, Julie.
Oh. Yes, Julie, I am.
Ready, single, and ready to mingle.
There we go.
All right, Julie.
Oh,
I'm going to Eugene, Oregon soon.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get that ticket. Yeah.
There we go.
Who's a woman that I look up to?
Yeah.
Morgan, my wife.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Morgan, my wife, she's like the most organized person I've ever met.
Mm.
She is so incredibly strategic, and she has this obsession with profitability. Meaning she always wants things to get better. So it's an insatiable desire that she has of, is this thing becoming more? So herself, me, our marriage, our friendships, in every aspect, it's like it needs to become something more. And today she's just selling a bunch of stuff on Facebook Marketplace, stuff that I would never want to do, just to get rid of it and make some extra cash. And again, it's like, here, we're going to get rid of things that we don't use, and we're not going to get more stuff. We're just going to get rid of the old stuff to become more simple in the way that we live. So I would not be able to do what I could do without her, because she's the main breadwinner in our relationship. Being a pastor, and I'm not making a ton of money doing this, but because of her, like, I have this insane life to be able to travel and do whatever it is that we want to do together on this journey. So whenever we go to Scotland, one of the things that's strong about her as well is just how gifted of a coordinator she is.
Nice.
So when Joel and I and our friends, we go as church leaders, we go to Scotland, Morgan plans all of the trips.
Yeah.
Like when we're leaving, where we're going, the schedules, the agendas, literally like the opposite of how my brain works. And all it does, it just chills everybody out. And it is so strong. She's a gifted leader. Today, like during this call, she's on the phone with 6 women from the UK.
Oh, wow.
Helping them develop their community.
Nice.
And helping them learn how to share and be friends. So I love this woman. She's the best.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Pastor Jonathan. Pastor Joel, who is a woman in your life that you look up to?
I love Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could answer that as well. Like,
sure.
I'm not even joking. She's
sure.
There's no joking.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. She's incredible. I'm glad she's in my life. But I'll talk about Julie in Combined Locks, Wisconsin.
Ooh, sorry,
So
Julie from Eugene.
Maybe next year at this time,
yeah,
Julie from Eugene will be a woman I look up to.
There we go.
Julie Harchis, my mom.
Yeah.
I could. I'll start with where she's at today. She's 72, right?
71.
71. She'll be 72 this year. 71. And she's an example of somebody who is progressively becoming happier every year. she's living the best part of her life right now. And it's not because she's retired. She's busier than she's ever been, but she's busy with meeting with people, with coaching people, with her pursuit of God and her pursuit of ministry.
Nice.
So it's wonderful seeing somebody who's just the antithesis of what we really believe life is like, where things start winding down, where she's more energized now and you know, healthier now, mentally, emotionally, spiritually than ever. And it's really a joy to see her continue to grow into who God created her to be, and for her to use that to impact other people in our community. She's involved in so many people's lives. Jonathan and I used to, when we were both pastoring together, we used to see her as like the efficient way to get kind of the pulse of Music Life Church Kimberly, especially, or just Music Life Church, especially as especially for the women.
Yeah.
But like Julie's involved directly in like 90% of the other women in Music Life Church, their lives. It's like, you want to kind of get a take for how everybody's doing. Just you talk to one person and you kind of have an idea. And
Nice.
and it's great. Yeah. Cause she's caring about all these people so well. So
Nice.
But to get from where she started to, one of the things that I had really, it was just a few months ago, I remember having this moment where I can't remember what I was doing or what I was watching, or like it was a TV show or a book I was reading or a podcast I was listening to. I'm not sure, but it caused me to have this moment of reflection in my life. And the conclusion I came to is I had a wonderful childhood.
Nice.
I really did.
Yeah.
And it's all due to her.
Yeah.
Because on paper, it shouldn't look like any of us would have had a wonderful childhood.
Yeah.
You know, being raised in a broken home, being raised primarily, especially in the early formative years, just by a single mom. And being on welfare and having food stamps.
Yep.
I know that stuff now. As a kid, I didn't.
Yeah.
As a kid, I wasn't hungry. As a kid, I didn't feel poor.
Yeah.
I was playing with you and with our friends in the neighborhood.
Yep.
Like any kid would, going to school. We had clothes on our backs. We weren't cold.
Yeah.
And now it's like I can look back and really appreciate what she did for us, because she bore a lot of the pain of the context in which we were really living in order to allow us to be safe and to grow and to maybe not experience so much of the pain of the world at such an early age.
Yeah.
It's like I don't think, like, I think it's good to have our kids be able to experience pain in a safe way, have them experience this pain in a way where we can be there to help them through it so they can learn what this looks like. But I also think as a parent, you go a long way of, you know, knowing your kids are going to experience pain. I can't prevent all of it, but every once in a while, if I can prevent a little bit of the pain that would be coming towards them to protect them, it's like, I think that goes a long way. And I think she did that for us. It definitely didn't enable us into not knowing how to deal with our own conflicts and our own struggles, but it protected us in a way where, you know, we didn't have to parent ourselves. We weren't all of a sudden put in this position we weren't ready for. We were able to just still be kids. So that's something that I thought that really hit me hard last year. Again, I can't remember what the origin of it was, but I had this really great moment and I was able to thank her for it. And you know, just like, and that was, out of everything I said about her, the thing that she thanked me for saying, the thing that she really appreciated the most was hearing me say that I had a good childhood. Like, that meant a lot to her.
Nice.
So, which I think goes a long way to say what she was dealing with a lot of our childhood. It'd be easy for her to think, I'm not entirely sure that my kids would feel this, but you know, from being a little, you know, a toddler to growing up in high school, it's just like she was there, a constant source of support and of love, and I definitely felt it, and I feel it today still, and to see how she continues to grow and benefit the people around her is pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Joel, was it when you told your mom she's the only mom that you want? Was that after the man night that we were in?
Yeah, I think that might have been the stimulus, because Jonathan
Yeah.
and I just helped a group of guys create their own. Our friend Peter Vandehay, right? He's wants to develop men. So Jonathan asked me to come and help him. Really, that was Jonathan's project to help Peter develop his own course based on what we use, and that was something that I had never heard before with Jonathan. And Jonathan talked about, you had that conversation with your parents, right?
Yeah, what's one of the things I say to my parents all the time is I say to my mom, I don't want any other mom than you.
Nice.
Or I say to my dad, I don't want any other dad than you.
Nice.
Because I
Yeah.
don't, and saying that really does, I think if all of us ought to, as adults, spend some time considering the work that our parents did to give us the life that we had. To state that to them is a really big deal, because I think you raise your kids and then they go off and they have other friends, or they have other people who they influence them, like I had different mentors that were my parents' age, but so I think as a parent you can sit there and go, well, maybe Jonathan wishes that his mentor was his dad, or his mentor was his mom, and it's like, no way. Not at all. Nobody can take the place of my parents
Nice.
in that role, and I want them to know that. That's all. I just want them in that role. Nobody else.
Nice. Man.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's when I think, it's like, and I reflect on, also there's, like, I've told Jack a lot of stories about my life, and of course the fun ones are to tell him the times where I've been stupid and done something dumb or got in trouble. And I think he has. So it's funny because every once in a while he'll talk about my youth as if I was a troublemaker. I'm like, man, what picture did I paint to this kid? And so I straightened that up, like, because part of me straightening that idea up for him was coming to grips of, like, actually I had a really good life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's, we all go through a lot of pain, we all go through a lot of tension, but the highest amount of tension I've ever felt is the highest amount of tension I've ever felt.
Yeah.
And that high amount of tension is it's the highest amount of tension to me.
Yeah.
So I think when we all can feel this level of, like, oh, I had a hard life. But I think I did have this moment where it's like, I did have a hard life for a certain period of time, and I was the cause of it. But I also recognized too, it's like, man, I mean, God got his hands on me at a pretty young age. And and this is all this parenting stuff again. I'm starting to look at Jack and think, you know what, if he screws the pooch right now and does something massively life-changingly stupid,
Yeah.
he's 16.
Yeah.
It's like, I did some really stupid shit
Yeah.
and recovered. And my life is amazing. I'd
Yeah.
want other people to have my life. So it's like, what it did is it kind of helped me realize, like, oh man, we can get into a lot of trouble. No, I'm not, telling people to go out and do stupid shit.
Sure. Sure.
But I think it's like, there's so much room for repair from the things we've done, where it kind of helped me ease off and give up more control on how Jack was learning to manage his own life, which I think is one of the reasons he was able to express being a man and becoming a man at 16 instead of later in life, like a lot of males do, if they ever do. And it's because I'm not lording over him, making decisions for him in an effort to try to prevent him from making the wrong decision. Like, go make a decision. If you screw up, I'm going to be here to help you through it. It's like, that's what I had. That's what Julie was always for me. And that's what helped me, I think, come to terms with yeah, not only is it good for me to learn how to make my own decisions, it's also good for me to learn how to clean up my own mess and take responsibility over that mess. So yeah, I love that. Like, thank you for that reminder, Jonathan, because that's
Yeah.
I think it's a way we can honor our mother and our fathers, which is the first commandment with promise.
Nice.
And I love the intentionality that you guys had in sharing that with your parents too. That's very inspiring, actually. So thank you for sharing that. That's really cool. So, well, awesome. So we're gonna play a game. This will be the last time we play a game like this together, since this is their last season of their podcast. Unless you guys show up for another episode of the Ryan Swope podcast down the road, who knows?
Maybe there will be a
Who knows?
reunion tour in 20 years or
Maybe.
so.
You never know. The greatest hits tour.
Yeah.
So this is called Pitch Game. We've played this in the past, but I got a wrinkle for you. So the pitch is, Joel, I'll have you go first. I want you to pitch why people should listen to the What the Flock and Music Life Church podcast, but you have to do it in your best Batman voice.
Okay.
You can pick whatever Batman you want. So yes. Hey Batman, why should I listen to the Music Life Church podcast and the What the Flock podcast?
So that's what that feels like. So listen, what the fuck? Listen to What the Fuck, because it'll help you learn how to discuss the garbage in Gotham. It'll help you be civil. I'm Batman.
Oh, nice. I love it. Oh,
Yeah. Thank you.
I love it. That was great. That was like a mix.
I'm a Christian Bale guy.
Yeah.
Right.
But I feel like at the end, I feel like you snuck in the I'm Batman Michael Keaton. Little taste at the end. There you go. Man. Pastor Joel, equal opportunity Batman. So way to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Equal opportunity Batman.
Great voice. The mask too. That was not anticipated.
The mask was good. That's impressive.
This is like legit too.
Yeah, you did a really good job with that.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, when was the last time you did that, Joel?
Honestly, it's probably been about 30 years.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I just didn't know. If anybody's going to remember, I feel like it's you.
Said, this morning. It's part of my mobility training.
Yes. That's great. All righty. Jonathan.
So I'm pitching season 7.
In my best in general.
Okay, just your podcast. Okay, just listen. Yeah. But as Batman?
not as Batman. I have a curveball for you.
Oh, okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
In your best Liam Neeson Taken voice.
Oh no.
If you're familiar.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's give him 30 seconds to develop his character.
I mean, I could do. I can. So he's pitching.
The What the Flock.
This is Liam Neeson.
This is the phone call.
Yeah.
Pitching season 7 of any of What the Flock.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Hoity-toity. My name is Liam Neeson and I am Irish. So have you ever heard of What the Flock? That's a great podcast. You're going to listen to it, or else you shall be straight up taken. By me, Liam Neeson. Cheerio, 42.
Oh man. That was perfect. Spot on.
Does that sound like him?
It does.
Dude, totally.
Yeah, okay. That felt good.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's so good. Man. Thank you guys for playing the pitch game. Thank you for embracing the impressions. Great impressions.
I wonder,
Great job.
I wonder how many new listeners we're gonna have from those pitches.
I wonder how many Irish listeners we're gonna lose.
Oh, right. Oh, man.
I got an Irish friend. I got an Irish friend who always tells me, Jonathan, your Irish accent is shite. That's terrible.
Oh, man. But thank you guys so much for playing. That does end this episode of the Ryan Swope podcast. I want to thank you guys for all the work that you do on your podcast. I know it's helped so many people. So thank you so much. It's helped me a lot in my life. Thank you for all the work and investment you guys have done these last however many years you've been doing this. Thank you so much. And remember, if you guys have been hurt by church, they're there for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.